That was too fast for me to read, but welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am AmalgamAsh, and this is Oracles, a game made by Electronice for the Marvius Jam, or Marvales Jam. This was made in RPG in a box, and it looks to be another experience-type game. I like the controls a lot. This is reminiscent of Resident Evil's control style, which is something I don't see very often, where you can actually spin your character in place. But enough about that. Let's actually experience this. We are seeing voxels. Oh. And we are seeing boxes. And I seem to have made a choice. The right choice or wrong choice, I will never know. Electronice made a couple of the games that I've played now, namely A Road to Awe and The Egg. And both of those games were profound. A Road to Awe, I actually learned, has 365 plus maps, so there was no way I was actually going to go through that whole experience, especially in one video. But hey, what? Oh, my depth perception. Oh. My depth perception kind of makes it hard to make things out, but if I hold shift, I can actually rotate the map using the arrow keys, so that's helpful to know. Where are we off to? Anticipation, optimism, cynicism, dejection, despair. This game is called Oracles. Are those the choices that I have made? Each one of these, does it represent a different choice? So if I only go right, will that lead me to only positive answers or only negative answers, maybe? Is it the same two answers presented? Is this procedurally generated? I have a feeling that this information is present on the game's itch.io page, linked in the description below for you. Grief, disappointment, admiration, hate, submission. You can use this. You can use this to act as an oracle, and you can tell someone's fortune with this. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use this to tell my fortune, or at least we're going to use it to decide what I'm going to talk about while I experience this for myself and make this my own experience. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about game reviewers, so we can approach that in a decidedly positive manner, or we can approach it in a slightly scolding or cynical or negative manner. So we'll use the game Oracles to determine that for us. If the results I see are largely more positive or negative, that's how I will approach the topic: aggressiveness, envy, cheerfulness, derisiveness, joy. Arguably, that's more negative traits than positive, which I think that is a trend in the oracles that I've revealed thus far. I don't know how long this goes on. I don't know how many choices there are to make. It looks like there's 5 sets of 2. And then a very random pathway, which one probably argues that it's not random at all. So I don't like reviewers. I don't like reviews of video games. I don't think that the reviewer is my friend or my advice giver or anybody I can in particular trust. It's just somebody who is experiencing something and they're attempting to translate their experience into advice, which I do not like. At the end of the day, none of this matters. This is just me giving you my experience, but I'm not going to try to authoritatively force it on you as your own. Surprise, misery, attentiveness, interest, contempt, more positive than good. We're going to switch tones. What I hope I can do with my channel, instead of provide reviews with like arbitrary scoring systems, is provide insight as if it was the first game that I ever played. This is something that I'm not very good at right now, but I'm trying to get better because it really is kind of my goal. I want to present each and every game as unique as possible. Sometimes I will make comparisons like, oh, this reminds me of game X or Y, but it's not to compare the game, it's to kind of describe the technique used that I can see, or to describe a fundamental mechanic about the game, such that the viewer might find it more relatable or recognizable. It's not a necessary thing to do, but it is just my style of overview of a game. I'm not so naive as to think that I don't review games currently. I'm sure that what I do now is a form of game review. Admiration, shock, excitement, joy. These continue to sound just a little more positive. I know shock isn't exactly positive, but it doesn't have to be inherently negative either. It is a defense mechanism after all. So we're going to continue on the positive path. And I hope that by doing that, I can inspire not only the independent developers of these games and these projects to feel somewhat validated for the efforts that they've put into their projects. That's a very pretentious goal to have. It's not the only one that I have, though. I want to show people that having this arbitrary 1 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever scoring system isn't the way that game reviews need to be. We just need to share our experiences, and that's it. We don't need to try to say that everybody will have the same experience, and that's what I want to push. Everything is subjective, and I want that to be an educational piece, not that I have any right to say that I can educate you or anybody else, but that my experiences are mine, which means in a survey sense, you can see that the experiences that I have are at least one of many possibilities to have in reaction to your project, your game, when I play it. Ambivalence, sullenness, alarm, admiration, terror, definitely more negative vibes. There are some reviewers that take the approach of reviewing a game and giving it different scores, 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10 sound, 3 out of 4 graphics, whatever. I don't like this approach because it's false authority. Who are you to say what those scores are? But more importantly, who are you to say what constitutes a 10 out of 10? You know, are you just going to select a game that's popular because you think more people will agree with you because it's popular? Is that your scoring system? Is that how you justify putting someone's work down? Is that how you justify bringing someone else's work up? At the end of the day, aren't you just playing games that you want to play? Aren't you just justifying your own tastes? There's nothing wrong with that, but why harm others in the process? And again, this advice, this viewpoint of mine doesn't inherently matter. It is just that. Just one of many. Dejection, shock, adoration, acceptance, alarm. I like adoration and acceptance, but the other three are negative. So it is for that reason I don't like introducing my channel or any of my work as review, because that is the stigma that I hold against it, and I think that that is the standard for what reviewers are and what they do today. They have an excuse to write a piece of journalism, and they want to stick with that because they want to grow their catalog, because they want to get the good job later, they want to get the views, they want to get the money, they want to translate what they like doing into that. But don't you lose a little bit of yourself anytime you judge something so harshly that it has the potential to bring the developer down, to bring somebody down? I'm not saying hand out participation trophies and everybody's hunky-dory. I'm saying change your approach, change the way that you're looking at things, because judging things harshly, you're going to miss out on what makes things unique. Fatalism, dislike, bittersweetness, resignation, pride. And I think with that, we have found a lot of negative oracles, and I don't know how much longer it will go on, so we'll put a stop to it here. Sorry for my rant. Perhaps that this is a lot more about me than what the game can represent for sure. But it's just one way of playing this game. I think that it definitely can provide you with a bit of mysticism and insight. I don't know if that was the intent or not. It's just one way to play it, one way to experience it. And I thank the developer for putting this together. It is definitely interesting. It is a lot of interesting choices were made in the mechanics of the game. If indeed a game it may be called, I'm going to call it a game. I don't want to sound too pretentious. And I have enjoyed myself, so definitely worthwhile for me. I'll leave a link in the description below if you would like to experience this for yourself. By the way, did we have any options? Anti-aliasing. We don't want anti-aliasing. We don't do that around here. This was Oracles by Electronice, and thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below if you've made it this far, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.